I'm just going to say this flat out. I don't care. Whatever I say in this podcast, that's me expressing myself. You cannot diminish, manipulate, or intimidate me by saying what I say, because I don't go for that. I stand on business.
Hey guys, welcome to
Heavenly Blues.
As you can see, this is my first guest.
I'm the magnificent.
This is my twin. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm joking.
This is my little sister.
Hey guys. I'm Dia, but if you've known me from being a writer, my name is Danny. That's how you pronounce it. Yeah. Hello.
Hi guys. Well, honestly, this feels a little like surreal.
Why?
Just because we've always talked about doing an episode together and like recording together, and we just never have until now.
Right.
So now that we're here, it's like I feel like this has been like a long time coming.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about just overcoming your traumas, like stepping out of it and like being able to just speak your piece and say what you say and telling your story.
Definitely. Which is why I'm here, guys, because I was telling Celeste earlier, like, if you need me to be with you so you could feel comfortable enough to have like that comfort to someone be there for you, I'm your guy.
Yeah, because it's been tough. Like, being vulnerable on this platform is obviously what I wanted this platform to be, but it's so difficult, especially for me. Like, I don't really talk about my feelings. Well, growing up, I didn't talk about my feelings.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing it more and more. And I just want to encourage people to not like hold it in all the time. So me being vulnerable with you guys is like, it's okay while I'm recording-ish. And then when it gets to the point of posting, I'm just like paralysis. Literally paralysis. I'm just like going through the what ifs and just struggling with feeling like, does anybody really even care?
Yeah. But I feel like when you get like that, like the biggest thing is like how I told you in your note, like when you feel like your message is just like too much and it's just heavy, then that's how you know it should be put out and presented, because you're not the only one who feels like that. There's other people that go through things that, you know, affects them and makes them not be able to express themselves. So
Dia's a writer, like she just said. So her form, I would say, would always have been through like writing and poetry and expressing in that way. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about why'd you start writing your poems?
Okay. So I actually started to get into writing because I read R.H. Sin's poetry books, and I was just like, I'm always writing about my life in my journal. I can write poetry too. And I don't ever think that I ever thought that I could write poetry, you know, like if it wasn't
like imposter syndrome a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you didn't feel qualified to do it.
Yeah. And sometimes I still don't feel qualified. Like I feel like, like I probably have nothing important to say. But then that's when I'm just like, that's the enemy talking. That's the enemy that doesn't want me to open up my throat.
It's so true.
Pause.
I just think like in this world, you are who you say you are, and you are who you make yourself out to be. And your works, like the fruit of your works, definitely speak for itself. Yeah. So if you continue to do poetry, then that makes you a poet.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way when I was started to do photography, like identifying myself as a photographer or like as a newborn photographer. It just was tough, like in the beginning, because I'm like, I'm just faking it till I make it, guys. I'm not,
right. Like,
I'm not,
this is just something we picked up.
This is just something I just do, you know.
Yeah.
I do
And
photography.
I think that's the thing. We need to stop minimizing our growth and our efforts.
One thing I like that you do is that you define yourself. Like you say, like, I'm an author, I'm a poet, I'm a writer, I interview people. Like, you really talk up your accomplishments, which I think is a good thing.
Shout out to Ben.
Which I think that's a good thing, because you've always had people around you saying you're not.
Yeah.
You know, like your biggest haters are your siblings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it was. Like growing up, how we were raised, it was like the people closest to us, like the people in our home supporting us,
was not
biggest haters. Like literally biggest haters. I can say that, like, growing up and maturing, I realized that I didn't treat you the best that I should have treated you. And I feel like it's because we didn't have good examples of how to treat each other.
Yeah. But I would definitely say that I forgive you. And I pretty much have forgiven everyone.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, how I act now is based on how you treat me present day.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what, like, a lot of the people we're related to don't fail to realize, is that I don't have no hatred or animosity towards you.
Yeah.
It's just that you have failed me in the past. You failed to have change.
Yeah.
You have failed to prove me wrong.
Not me.
Not her. This is...
I'm like, you saying you a lie. You
is not you, girl.
You is not me.
No,
because
general perspective.
Let's just talk about it. Me and Dia had like a strained 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, when we were younger, it was always tough, and I feel like we were our only best friends, really. Like, we had each other the most, I would say. It was like our brothers had each other's backs.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to have each other's backs too. But I just feel like a lot of the circumstances that we were put in, I feel like a lot of times we were being overly compared to each other.
Yeah.
And so it just created this weird
atmosphere.
Space. Yeah. And then also us being like close in age, I feel like we were expected, like, it was more so of a force. Like, they were like, mom was always like, bring your sister with you. Bring your sister with you. Bring your sister with you.
Guys. I am so introverted and to myself that my mom being like, oh, you gotta bring your sister. I wasn't the happy sister. I was just like, yeah, I get to go with myself. I was just like, I wanted to stay in my room.
Yeah.
I wanted to read my books.
And then also me, it's just like, dang, like I wish I would be able to hang out with my friends by myself.
Without me sitting like in the corner.
In the back seat, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, just there, like, fly on the wall type stuff.
No, literally. And that's why it was so weird, especially growing up, is because, as you could tell, guys, we're both attractive.
I didn't know where you was going with that. She said, we're both. What I mean? What I mean.
Right. And so it took me, it took me a while to be like, why aren't people seeing me for me?
And because it was always a comparison.
Yes.
I'm tall and slim. D is short and thick. And it was always, oh, you and this and she's darker, I'm lighter. And it was always a constant comparison of like, oh, your sister, why don't you blah, 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 your sister.
For an instance, you know who you are, because this really affected me when I was growing up. But I was like in the 7th grade.
Yep, that's when it started.
Celeste was
ninth. But our schools were right next to each other.
Right.
So that's when people would see us together, and that's when the comparison really started.
And so what really hit me one day is when I was walking and they were being so loud and rambunctious, like these group of boys, and I can hear you. Like, I try so hard to just be like just like tunnel vision, because I didn't want it to affect me, but it did affect me. But they were just like, Dia's body was Celeste's face. And I'm only like 12.
That is the nastiest thing you could
12.
ever say to somebody. That is so nasty.
And so ill.
And I hate like, what? Because that invalidates both of our beauties.
Right.
Both of our beauties.
Right. Like, what do you mean?
That's so good. Like,
the perfect
where
girl.
You gonna put my face? Where does my face go? Like,
no, girl. They said my body, your face.
I know. I'm saying, speaking from your POV, right? Like, where does my face
like? Am
go?
I not pretty?
Am I just a head that don't belong here? And that was the stupidest thing. And that
so,
you guys
like, growing
said.
up,
I'll really beat your ass. I hated for anybody, like, I'm gonna be real, anytime somebody was like, if I was dating a guy and they even thought about putting their friends onto my sister, it was a hard no. Anything that had to do with my sister, no. It was just always a hard no. And I feel like that's because I always wanted to protect her and keep the conversations away from that. I don't want some dude to be with my sister and my guy to be with me and they be friends and they just swapping stories about their experiences with us. Like, that was disgusting, and we didn't deserve to be treated like that.
We didn't. Yeah. Fuck. I told Celeste, I told her, I was just like, if I cuss, just bleep me out.
I said, then don't cuss. Then don't cuss. One thing about us, y'all, I don't really be cussing on this channel, but it's hard. We grew up cussing.
Guys,
Sailor
we used to have, like, when we were little.
We were little.
We would be like, because we would get in trouble for saying crap. So we would be like, crap.
She would get in trouble for saying crap.
I was definitely the little kid who flicked everyone off.
She started it. She started the rebellious behavior. I remember one time she flicked my brother off, and I said, or she was like,
it felt so
one time we were at the dinner table, and my dad was in the bathroom, and she goes, yeah, he taking a dump. I said, what? What is she saying? No.
But that's how you know
she said he's taking a dump.
I've always expressed myself.
And she's always had her own mind.
Right. And I'm proud to be like, oh, I'm goofy. And I was just telling her this earlier. I was just like, I'm goofy. I'm assertive. I am a leader. And I am myself. I am my own character. I am my own personality.
Yeah.
You know,
like, you can't little girl you.
Right.
At all.
And I hate that, because it's just like, babes, when I was 17, I was interviewing celebrities.
Yeah. Period.
I could definitely quote Ben right now. He always said, talk it. He was just like, do not humble yourself for these people, because when you humble yourself, when you diminish yourself, that's you doing that to yourself. And they already gonna do that to you.
Period. I want to pivot, because us talking about, like, the boys and how things were like that, and, you know, us
going through that,
but also, like, growing up in church, and, you know, they talked about the law of chastity.
Me, in my head, what's that?
You know what the law of chastity is?
Explain.
You don't know what the law of chastity is?
Explain for the viewers.
Okay, the law of chastity is basically, like, no sex before marriage, basically. Carrying yourself in a very holy, modest way, not having sex before marriage. That was the law of chastity. Chastity is like, you're pure.
Ooh.
You're a virgin.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And so I just want you to tell a little bit, Well, as much as you feel comfortable sharing, like your point of view on how you were raised around
how I was raised. Let me tell you, and I hate that I have to over explain myself to these people, because I get all the time, "You're such a little boy. Do you act like a little tomboy?" First off, growing up, we were not allowed to wear leggings.
No.
Skirts.
No.
Shorts that went above our knees. And I played soccer. Guys. Anything really tight.
Can I also say that we had a limit on what sports we could play?
Yes.
We couldn't. I wanted to be a cheerleader.
I wanted to do dancing.
Couldn't do that. I wanted to be a gymnast. We couldn't do that.
We couldn't do that.
We couldn't do like volleyball. We couldn't do
anything that overly exposed.
Any feminine sport, really.
Yeah.
We were only allowed to do soccer or softball growing up. That's the only thing that.
Because we were covered the most. Even with like. And I'm just going to say this flat out. I don't care. Whatever I say in this podcast, that's me expressing myself. You cannot diminish, manipulate, or intimidate me by saying what I say, because I don't go for that. I stand on business. Business. Can you edit that?
Why?
Business.
Okay.
I stand on that.
Business.
Okay? I don't play about me, because I feel like I've gone through things that I felt like I couldn't express myself.
Silenced.
I'm still silenced.
Even now
I'm still silenced. Because
even now we're holding back.
Right,
because if we were truly vulnerable, it would ruffle some feathers.
And that's why when I publish my book, guys, y'all are going to see feathers get ruffled. And guess what? I will still stand tall.
She kind of short, but she'll stand that
hold on.
5 feet.
My favorite Mulan quote: "The mountain does not bow down to the wind, and baby, you can huff and puff, and you could turn yourself blue in the face, and I still would not give a fuck."
Oh! Watch your mouth. Lock it. Anyways, we were very, very like
boyish.
But here's the thing. We couldn't dress any kind of cute the way we wanted.
We couldn't express ourselves.
But the thing is like, I understand now. I see a lot of parents dressing their daughters overly sexual. But there's just some things that is not sexual. Clothing does not have to be sexual, especially on little girls. If you're dressing your little girls like they're grown women, then you need to reevaluate yourself. Okay, they are not dolls for you to just be dressing any kind of way.
This ain't Bratz, babe.
But it's another thing to shame a girl growing up who wears shorts that are even 3 inches above her knees.
Listen to this.
And calling her a slut or a whore or a tramp or saying things like that. That's like, so wrong. And that's what we got.
Let me tell you this. So I played soccer. I would go
from our family members.
From our dad. And this is why I stand tall. This is why I stand tall on what I say and how I say it. Because if you have a kid, your job is to build them up, to protect them, to give them a sense of themselves, to not diminish them, to not devalue them. Yes, material things may be nice, but that whole pyramid of how you bring up your kids matters.
It does. And I also want to say that for all of you that have children now and plan on having children, know that your job is not to pick their destiny. Your job is to raise them up correctly so that they may follow and live a good life. But if they want to do something, support them in it.
Yeah.
Who cares that you didn't get to play the piano when you were a little girl? If that person says that they want to play a guitar, you better support them in that.
I wasn't even.
If they don't want to play sports, don't make them play sports. Let them do something artistic. Let them do whatever they want. Your job is to put things in front of them so they can choose their path. Expose them to more than just, you know, sports. Teach them all kinds of stuff.
If we based our things of, well, I didn't get that growing up. Well, my dad wasn't like that growing up. My such and such wasn't like that. This is how I got treated.
You're repeating the experience.
Build something, and you build something, and when you build a pot, for an example, and you take broken pieces and try to put those broken pieces into something new, you're just creating something that's even more broken. But with that being said, is there's ways that you can grow from these things. Because for the longest time, I was angry. And I was so angry that I cut off everyone and I ran away.
Yeah, she wanted to cut everyone off so bad. I was like, girl, I don't get it.
I grew up angry. And for the longest time, we grew up somewhat religious. Like, I would say proudly that for the longest time I had the head knowledge of God. I didn't have the heart knowledge. And with that being said is I was already diminished. I was already silent. I genuinely just felt like a puppet, like that I had to do certain things. And I did. It was do or die.
It was also like being a caged bird. And so very limited.
And that's literally why I got wings tattooed on my back. Because
and we did not get like, personally, I don't feel like I got supported at all in the things that I wanted to do. No. Like, at all. And it really hurts. And trying to pick yourself up and figure out who you are after the fact, like, it's tough. Because if I was allowed to do the things that I wanted to do, then maybe I might be a little bit more successful in life. Maybe I might have a lot more skills. Like, maybe I'd be, I don't know, maybe I'd just be different. Maybe I'd be able to commit to things better. Because the things that I was but the options that I was given wasn't necessarily what I loved doing. It wasn't what I wanted to do. It was the option I was given.
Like, you have no choice.
But maybe if I had something that I wanted to do and I was able to do it, maybe I'd be able to commit to things better.
But then again, there's also that preset judgment that, you know who you is, had on us. Like, oh, last time you did this, you quit. So I'm just going to put my hands up and you're not going to get nothing from me.
You're not going to do anything else.
I'm not going to support you in anything else because of this one time that you did.
I definitely got that.
When you were a little kid.
Little kid.
Like,
little kid. Oh, you sat on the bench for one game during soccer and you told him you wasn't going to play a specific position? Okay, well, I'm pulling you and I'm not paying for you to do anything else ever again. You're never going to get my support again.
What? And that's how it was.
I was 6.
Right.
I still got a whole life to live.
And I've definitely gone through therapy because I would say when I went off to school, and this is just my story, when I went off to school, I have never felt so free. I have never felt like I can dress how I want to dress and not be called slut, not be called a whore, not saying that I'm fast. And I also was battling with my mental health because I have also never felt so alone. And even then, I realized that I had nobody and that I was truly alone. And I was also like trying to get myself diagnosed. Like, I have never fought so hard for myself and also felt like I failed myself in the same setting. So going and experiencing that freedom definitely changed me, because it was just like, okay, life is hard. And I remember sitting on a balcony ready to just end it all, because I have worked so hard to prove myself to everyone. And I still wasn't being seen. My privacy was like exposed. And I had asked my mentor at the time, I won't say names, to not tell anyone that I'm going through. And he told the one person that I did not want my business to be shared to, because I don't even talk to that person. I don't even like them knowing my accomplishments, because you've never supported me. You never cheered me on. It wasn't until even at our soccer games, we have never gotten the support.
Never. Like, literally never.
We were
Show up for your kids. Don't leave. Don't just not show. Don't pick and choose which kids you want to show up for and which ones you don't want to show up for. Which ones you don't care to show up for.
And
I'm sorry that soccer is not exciting as football, apparently, but it leaves an effect, as you can tell, as grown women, as a dang near 22-year-old and dang near 20-year-old woman.
It affected us.
This sounds so weird, not cussing. Dang near and dang near. But obviously we're still affected. Yeah. Obviously it still hurts. Yeah. And
being told that
it hurts having to hide who you are and not specifically explicitly say your name, because
you're a crybaby and you hate it when people call you out. Clock it. You're a crybaby. And you like to point at everyone's insecurities, everyone's problems, but you refuse to look in the mirror because you're scared of what you might see. Clock it. Continue.
I'm frozen, guys. I'm frozen. As you can see, we have a lot. And we're talking about moving past trauma. And I feel like now, what I was going to say is, I don't know, like, I feel like now at this point, I have to have sympathy for you. Like, it feels like I have to have sympathy for that person, because you don't and you never will understand what you did to me and how your actions quite literally shape the way that I think and feel about life and myself. And moving from that is finding myself, discovering myself, and learning myself, and learning not to put my worth and my value in a man's perspective of me. Learning to love myself on my own and not have to feel like I need a validation from a man to tell me about myself, to tell me what I'm worth.
And I feel like I can say, like, I've learned from that moment to never care again, because I cared so much that I was sitting on an edge. I was sitting on top of a building about to jump off because of how diminished and devalued I felt, because it's just like, why am I still feeling like a little girl who's scared, who's been hurt, who's been abused, felt so unloved, that why am I here?
Can I just say, it really, really hurts to have the people that are supposed to love and care for you most laugh in your face at your struggles, especially mental health struggles. that hurts a lot.
Definitely say, like, we got that. And I could definitely say that the only reason why I'm sitting here today is because my god sister called me and asked me to play Roblox.
Showing up for people is important. More important than you know.
Yeah. And it sucks because it's just like I felt like, dang, like all my hard work, all the barriers, all the things that I've told myself that I'm going to try to better on, like I'm back to square one because I've allowed you to bring me down. I allowed you to diminish my value. I allowed you to do things to me, and I will no longer stand for any of it.
And I feel like we go through these experiences, and what I've learned, like getting to know God, is that we go through these things and it really is for the glory of God.
Yeah.
It really is for the glory of God.
Yeah.
Like, it makes us stronger. And not just that, but remember when Job was going through all the stuff that he was going through, and then he was just like, why, God? And God was just like, do you know, like, were you there when I made this earth? Do you know, like, what it takes?
Yeah.
But your story might be directly linked to someone else's story. And that's what keeps me going and wanting to do this platform and tell my story, because I want people to know that you will get through it. At the end of the day gonna end. It's gonna end. And what I was telling her earlier is, like, we're laughing and joking about our trauma because we can now.
Yeah.
Because it's the past now. Because we can. Because we're no longer there.
Yeah.
We're no longer going through it.
Yeah.
We're no longer the scared little girls. We're no longer the reckless, loose teens that just now finally, like, my oppressor is gone, so now I can do whatever I want, and I've made so many mistakes, and I've put myself in so many uncomfortable situations. I'm no longer that person anymore.
Period.
And I've grown from it.
And how I feel is just like, you may know that little girl, but you do not know this grown woman sitting before you, and I think that scares you. Because you don't know who I am. You don't know what goes through my head. You don't know how I think. My mind is not programmed the way you programmed it.
Heavy on that.
I have a father who loves me and who will do anything for me. And that's God. That's him. When I'm going through the most terrible times in my life, I'll get on my knees and I'll cry to him. And that's the truth, is that when you are going through these things, when you're just like, I'm so unloved, when you have never felt unconditional love, remember that there is someone who unconditionally loves you, who shows you their unwavering support, who gives you opportunities, who guides you, who blesses you, who protects you. That will always be God.
Amen.
That will always be him for me.
This is why, like, I want people, I want my friends, I want my loved ones, I want community. You guys. Yes. But I can't help but to talk about God when you're going through something, because I've been through the mud. I've been through it. Like, I've literally been through it so freaking bad, and the only one that got me through it was God. That was the only person that was the only one to get me through it. And even when I was so lost. I used to joke. I used to say, like, I used to literally say God's name in vain all the time. I used to say Jesus effing Christ all the time when I was a teenager. I don't know what possessed me to do that. But I used to say that all the time. And it brings me so much shame now to even like, why did I even do that? Why did I think that was okay? Why did I think it was okay? Or OMFG, like just saying things like that. It's like when I was just so far away.
The thing is that you didn't know any better. So how can you judge yourself for not knowing? Now you know.
I know now, but I'm just saying, like, even when I was so blasphemous, even when I did so many wrong things, it's like God will pursue you if you let him. Like, he will literally, he will leave the 91 to find you. And it's like and if you push him away, he'll wait for you to come back. And when you come back, he'll welcome you with open arms, because he knows that you didn't know any better and you were operating out of pain. Yeah. You were operating out of hurt. You were operating from your flesh. Mm-hmm. He already knew that you would stumble. He already knew that you would do that sinful thing. Why? Because maybe you just didn't know better. Maybe you didn't learn better. Maybe that was the example that was set for you. But he will come and he will literally embrace you. Mm. And this is why it's so important to really seek him every day and seek to please him every day, and not the ones around you, because they will forsake you. And God will never forsake you.
People want the people around them to be miserable. And then also it's saying that is, you know, I used to think, God, I'm a good kid. I don't think I have forsaken you, Lord. How can you allow bad things to happen to me? How can you do that? And that's when my faith started to diminish. It's because I'm just like, I thought you were going to protect me. I thought you were going to guide me. But now, being older, I changed my perspective. How can God allow good things to happen to bad people? Because I am sinful. I am a sinner.
Same.
I have shame. I have guilt. I have regrets.
I'm selfish.
And
greedy.
Yeah. All of it.
I judge people when I shouldn't. I make fun of people when I shouldn't. I mock people because there might be a little tism there. And I just have to imitate the sound I just heard.
Yeah.
And it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I'm rude. And I'm not kind. I don't seek to speak to people. I will literally be so on mute, on quiet.
And that's okay. And I've come to realize that, like...
Sorry, guys.
God still loves you.
You do love
You might look in that mirror and you might see a demon. But when God looks at you, he sees his beautiful angels that he has created.
Yes. And you need to declare in the name of Jesus Christ that all of these things may not come upon you, and that may not have access to you, and that the only spirit that dwells within you be the spirit of the Holy Spirit. And you may like break all these chains, anything, any demons, any principalities, any nasty, 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 ugly, nasty, nasty, ugly, 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 nasty, 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 ugly, 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 nasty thing that may not come against you, and that you may be a free person, and that you may
free the shackles, free you,
free me, free her, free us. And you can really pray these things.
Yeah.
And if you ever feel like something's trying to attack you, literally pray.
Yes.
Pray and then praise.
Spiritual
prayer
warfare
and praising is like the best combination. Like if something is coming against you and you feel that you're going through a hard time, pray against it and then praise God right after. Boom. You feel good.
Boom.
So let me ask you this question.
Okay.
How do you feel now moving forward from all of that? What would be your advice to someone else that may be in your same shoes? What would you tell them?
There might be a voice in your head telling you that you're a failure, that you don't deserve anything, and that you suck. And quite frankly, you don't. I was told at my lowest point all of those things. And I've came to realize that I'm amazing. I'm strong-willed. Whatever I set my mind to will come into fruition, because that's just that. If no one else has you, you have to have you like nobody else does, because quite frankly, when you die, it's just you in that grave.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody goes in there.
Nope.
Nobody goes in there with you. And the only place that you'll go after that is either heaven or hell.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I plan on going to heaven.
Amen.
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 And honestly, if you feel like you relate to me, like you feel like you were angry, you feel like you were depressed, seek therapy, but also seek God. I mean, you could do either or, truly, because I've never felt so strong. I've never flourished in the way that I have until I gave, I, you know how when you pray to God and you're just like, Heavenly Father, can you please do this for me? Can you do this for me, please? I changed that. God, use me. God, allow me to be available, to allow me to lead a Christ life, to allow me to be like Jesus, to allow me to do whatever you want me to do. Whatever my purpose is, God, allow me to do that for you.
Yes. I pray that prayer probably every day, at least once a day.
Yeah.
Whatever you have in your will for me, align my desires with yours, because I don't want to be on a path that God has not put out for me.
And I feel like I was like
That's
that.
literally wasting time. Like, are you literally dumb?
Excuse me. I was so stood for it. I was just like, God, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. And I failed. Why? Because that's not what God had in store for me.
Nope.
God had me on an entirely different path.
Yeah.
And I still won't know that path. And I'm okay with not having control over the things, because it's not for me to have control over. It's for Him.
And you don't have to feel the utmost shame. You don't have to feel unworthy because of your failures, because just know that you are learning something in that experience, and you can use that to apply that to your future and also to help other people.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing new under the sun.
Mm.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Nope.
Something that you're going through, someone else might be going through. And so this is why I want to encourage you to use your voice and tell your story.
Yeah.
Because it may help others more than you may know.
Yeah. And I can say personally, like, with sharing my story, with sharing the things that I've went through, I could proudly say that I know that I have helped people.
Mm-hmm.
And even at my lowest point, I got ordained, and I'm actually like a reverend, which is so weird to say, because I feel like I should actually like
do something with that.
Utilize that.
You probably should.
I probably should utilize
God probably
that.
Like that. You just got it, and it was just like, oh y'all,
okay.
I'm ordained reverend.
I'm ordained.
Yeah, but it's also like,
but I also feel like me with writing, and that's why I will publish my book, and I will get that done, because I know that the things that I've went through, the things that I've said, the advice that I had given myself helps me. It still does. Knowledge will forever be timeless. You'll forever need a pick-me-up.
Mm-hmm.
You will always need that.
There will always come a point in time where you absolutely will need a pick-me-up. And I think that's why it's important to journal.
Yeah.
Y'all, journal. I just said it twice on this channel. If you ain't got a journal already, get one. Literally write your experience.
And let me tell y'all, when I was like going through my entire childhood, at my first journal, when I got baptized, after that I was so upset because when you and Javon got baptized, y'all got a journal, and I didn't.
I got a journal after I got baptized?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, stay right here. We're at 45. Okay.
They had got a journal, and I was so upset. I was just like, I didn't get one. And then for Christmas, my aunt had gifted us our own journals.
That was my first journal.
Right.
In my head, that was my first journal. I don't remember the journal that I got when I got baptized. But
that journal has everything.
That journal has everything.
I may be called
away.
I may be called a liar, a mentirosa,
it up.
but I have everything documented.
I threw my journal away.
I kept everything.
It's because my mental health got so bad that what I started to write felt scary, and I didn't want to read it. And whatever was possessing me at that time, literally, I threw my journal away in the dumpster.
What I did was, my journal is my safe place. So anything that I'm going through in here and here, I put it in my journal. I write everything out and I close it because now it's somewhere else, and I don't feel it in here.
And my mind's not a mess anymore.
And I feel aligned with what I want to do, because maybe one day I'm going through a bad breakup. And maybe one day I feel alone. I put it in my journal, write it down, and then I come to the conclusion that I want to say I'm better than this. I want to say I am not alone, and that I will forever be loved because I got her.
Oh, period.
And then I have God. Finding your sanctuary is very important. And if you don't have like good coping mechanisms, you're going to bottle up. And I have done this before. You're going to bottle up and you're going to be filled with anger and resentment and sadness. And then one day that bottle's just going to explode. And
the timing was so crazy. The air just cut.
Yeah, I was just like,
she said, one day that's bottle gonna explode.
But yeah, that happens. But also come to realize that you can have your people that you go to, right? You can tell someone all your problems.
I also want to say this.
But that's not healthy.
Don't keep friends in your life that are going to belittle you or bring you back down to who you were in the past. You're not obligated to give people your time. The friends that are meant for you will stay for you, and they will ride for you, and they will show you that they'll be down for you through whatever. But if you have a friend that is actively always acting weird towards you, or they don't support you, or they don't call you or check up on you or make sure you're good, they probably don't need to stay in your life.
And then also, since we're on the French subject, there are people who will see your destiny. They see your potential before you see your own potential, and they'll whisper in your ear and lead you down a different path than you're supposed to be on, because that definitely has happened to me before.
Or just look at the people that you're surrounding yourself with and think, are they headed where I want to go? Or are they working on themselves? Or
are they headed where I want to go?
Or where they gonna go? No, I'm just kidding.
Up or down?
Like, yeah, truthfully.
Yeah.
I feel like we should wrap this up.
Yeah. So, moral of the story, whatever you're going through, whatever trials and tribulations that you are headed up against, just know that you have a whole army of God behind you, that you're not alone.
You're a whole army of God. Period. Because he has an army of angels. Like, literally.
Yeah, literally.
Okay.
You have the whole heavens rooting for you.
Period. They all are like, we want you. We want you. We want you. Come. Back to God. Back to God. Back to God.
Come here.
You were sent down from heaven to do your duties in God's kingdom.
Right.
And we want return.
Right.
Return. You came down here to help God's kingdom. Now you gotta go back up.
Right.
Don't stay.
My thing is never feel stuck or stagnant. Remember that any time you're in is because there's a purpose and there's a lesson to be learned.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always something. You are forever evolving.
Yes.
I'll put it like that.
And I just want to say, if you were thinking about this, if you were watching this and you were thinking about this, don't log out of life. Don't log out of life. It gets better.
Zoe.
Zalzoe is not worth it. Zalzoe. It was not worth it. Zalzoe. I know that whatever you're going through might be tough, but it will literally be like a shockwave throughout the world. It will affect people continuously.
Yes.
Like,
we have both lost people that we have cared for and adored.
Or I've lost people that I didn't even care that much for. And it still hurt me. It still hurts me to this day.
Yeah.
People that I didn't even know. We've had so many suicides in our school. Like, people that I wasn't close with, didn't have much of a relationship. It still hurts me. We still think of you.
Yes.
I can't tell you, but we still think of you.
Right. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve because it's just like, I grew up feeling unloved. So the best thing that I could do is love everyone and to have compassion and empathy for everyone.
For everyone.
No matter what background you came from, no matter who you are. I don't care if you're gay, if you're trans. I am a safe place. I won't judge you. We all have our stories. No one here in this earthly realm has the power to diminish you and to belittle you. Why are you giggling?
Because you said diminished. It's diminished. I'm sorry. I didn't have to say that.
Y'all, I'll be like ready to like flick people off, and I've done it. That is my problem. And I'll be doing that. I've been doing that since that day I flicked Javon off.
Anyways, y'all.
I'm joking.
If you watched this video and it helped you in any kind of way, please give us a like, comment.
Hit that follow button.
Please hit the follow button. Just hit the follow button. Like, things are going to get better. It's only up from here.
Mm-hmm.
It's only up from here. I made a promise to myself years ago that as long as I'm living, that I always want to be there for as many people as possible and reach as many people as I possibly can.
Period.
And I thought to myself, how am I supposed to do that? Because I'm antisocial. I don't really be talking to people like that. How am I supposed to help people and I'll be talking to people? And that's why we have this platform. Because I can reach many more people this way.
You're good.
Maybe I might not be able to have a conversation with 100 people, but I could talk to 100 people this way.
Right.
Da-da-da-da-da.
And if you're watching this video and you're just like, and you feel attacked, look in the mirror, babes.
Look in the mirror, babes.
Look in the mirror.
If the shoe fits, maybe you should wear it and walk away. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like I said, if you want to be on a future episode, then leave a message in my DMs.
And if you want me to be here more and y'all like me, get at your girl.
She's probably gonna be here more anyway, so I don't know what she's gonna say because she's probably gonna be here more.
Because I'm funny and y'all think I'm hilarious.
And I know that if I never have anybody, I have my sister. And
period.
With that being said,
bye bye. We love y'all.